Hello Dota 2 fans and welcome to another edition of Join Dota League Season 4. This is the American Division 1 playoffs. We have VoidBoys versus paiN Gaming. Once again, North America, South America matchup. Welcome to all of you from Brazil. We have paiN Gaming, the Brazilian squad, taking on VoidBoys based in Canada. Mostly American players, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll take it as more right, please. Your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster. So we got a first couple of bans here, pretty standard stuff. VoidBoys going to take out the Tide and the Brew, two very strong team fight heroes, space creating heroes, heroes that you should be worried about giving farm to, and of course, heroes that build into that early Blink Dagger for that initiation capability. Interesting ban here from paiN Gaming. They're going to take out the Omni Knight in the first ban, and it definitely does make sense with the Vengeful Spirit first pickup, in the sense that Venge does buff your physical damage with the Wave of Terror, and of course that physical damage is going to be mitigated by the Guardian Angel. But guys, I have some excellent news for you. We have a rare Mike Loris sighting. Mike, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. You are alive. Welcome to the cast.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can't hear me? Skype. Good old Skype. Yes, I can. Hopefully you can hear me on stream. Either way, we've hopped into the draft. And let me just check this out quickly. Yeah, I am using the proper output device, so let me just retry this. Either way, we're going to see the Ogre pickup from the side of VoidBoys. So very strong hero. Did have a nerf in the last patch to the range on the Fire Blast, of course. So not the biggest nerf. Aghanim Scepter still probably going to be the first item build from the Ogre. Sometimes you will see that Force Staff if he's not able to get up as much farm. But regardless, we will see a Jakiro pairing with that Ogre as well. And the Batrider is going to be the pickup from paiN Gaming. So very powerful initiation there from the Brazilian squad. And not a hero that it's definitely a hero that is feast or famine in the sense of this Batrider. Not a hero that so much has been able to do extremely well recently, at least from what I've seen in the current meta. But is certainly a hero that can turn the tides of a fight if you're able to get a very priority target out of the fight, drag him into your entire lineup, and bring him down promptly thereafter. So very interesting pickup. We will see if it ends up being successful for the side of paiN Gaming, for the Brazilian squad. That probably will be Grant XD. Actually, not sure if he has a name change here, but Grant XD usually in the offlane on that Batrider. And we do see Baga King RD for DR. And VFW, new addition to the squad there, so either way, paiN Gaming looking fairly sharp here. We'll see if VoidBoys ends up going for this Shadow Fiend that they usually pick up. Perhaps that's the reason they banned out the Omni Knight early. Tiburon is a big fan of the SF, and therefore the Repel is very good with SF because it allows you to go more damage-oriented item builds, because you obviously have the free BKB from the Repel, which is, I believe, something like 6 seconds at level 1, which is absolutely ridiculous. The uptime on that ability is also quite good, especially at the later levels when it has something like a 12-second cooldown and a 10-second duration. So Omni Knight pairs very well with the SF, so perhaps they just look to ban that out in order to dissuade VoidBoys from going for that Shadow Fiend for Tiburon. They also run a lot of Void on Tiburon as well, so they ban out the Omni Knight, which allows them to go for the SF but makes it not as strong as it usually is, and then they ban out the Void. So two Tiburon heroes being certainly at least deterred from the way of paiN Gaming. So intelligent banning on them. They have done their homework, as I have on Tiburon, and we will see Bian's hero probably come out here soon for the mid lane. He's very effective in the mid lane. I've seen him done well on things like the Invoker and such. So he's certainly big playmaking hero. He plays the Ember Spirit as well. Viper ban and the Legion Commander ban gonna come out here from the side of paiN Gaming. And so LC, a little bit of an interesting ban there. Definitely is good into the Batrider with that counter initiation from the lasso, and can stop that with the duel or interrupt it. But we'll see IO and Death Prophet bans from VoidBoys. So no obvious IO pairing thus far, but certainly a strong hero, not one you want to go against. And therefore, things looking pretty good thus far for VoidBoys. They do have a lot of variability here. They could put this Jakiro into a core role, of course, and therefore they do have a lot of variability, can relegate it to support thereafter. And so you will see a lot of core bans here in the way of the Void, Viper, and LC, but this still allows VoidBoys to pick up another support, a strong support at that, since they haven't focused their banning on supports at this point. So certainly things looking good for VoidBoys in terms of the different routes that they're able to take here, and things a little bit more close-minded for paiN Gaming. They picked the Venge, who will generally be in your support role, Batrider, who will generally be in the offlane or the jungle, but most likely you will see it in the offlane for paiN here. And this is a playoff elimination matchup, guys. The winner will go on to face Wheelwreck while Whistling, who were absolutely incredible in the group stages and definitely earned that bye to the finals of the American Division Final with their play. And both these teams certainly will be formidable foes for Wheelwreck while Whistling if they make it through. VoidBoys will pick up the puck here for paiN if it goes towards the mid lane. And as I mentioned, he's very good on these playmaking heroes. He's very good on these space creating heroes. I hope I don't overhype him and jinx him, but I've seen him make quite a few plays for VoidBoys, and VoidBoys has looked very good recently, and I've been impressed with their plays certainly. So paiN will pick up that puck, presumably towards the mid lane. If not, they could have it on Mercy Please in the off lane, or even in the safe lane on Tiburon, but usually you see Tiburon playing one of these damage-oriented, very hard right-clicking carries like the SF or the Void, which were both kind of banned out in the sense that the Omni was banned out to couple with that SF, and the Void himself was banned out thus far. So we will see how things end up going here. And we will see a Zeus pickup from paiN Gaming. So interestingly enough, perhaps looking to have a good time mid lane versus that puck. Either way, the Zeus is pretty good against puck. You can bait out the phase shift with an arc lightning if the puck player isn't as experienced or doesn't want to take too early damage, and then hit him with a lightning bolt. Either way, paiN on the puck is going to be able to farm mid very well versus what I presume will be King RD in the mid lane. It could be 4DR. King RD and 4DR are extremely flexible with their 1-2 roles. I can't really say either of them plays the 1 or 2 exclusively because they do jump back and forth between the two. So good on paiN Gaming in that sense. 4DR could take that Zeus toward the mid. That would be, I guess, the more general approach, as 4DR does play a lot of mid heroes for them, and King RD usually plays the farming role. So in the 1 position, I should say. So either way, Zeus not going to have a bad time mid versus the puck. Will find his own farm, but definitely can't stop the puck from farming. And I feel like that's one of the weaknesses of the Zeus in the mid lane, is that he can't harass the opposing hero out of lane particularly well, especially when there is a phase shift available to paiN. And we will see Tiburon's hard farming Naga, and that is crazy looking here for VoidBoys. We could have a long one in the making for us, guys. Not going to be picked up here for Tiburon. Could also go to Fly or Omega Owner, of course, for the 4 or 5 role. I mean, Naga support, not the best. It does offer some utility, but with the Jakiro Ogre duo, that's a very strong supporting duo in and of itself. The Naga would be pretty good with the Jakiro as well as the Ogre. That would be a lot of disable if they max out that ensnare early on. I believe at max level you do see that ensnare at 5 seconds. So in addition to that, they'll have the Ice Path as well as the Fire Blast, and therefore pretty darn good if they put the Naga in the support role and opt for a Jakiro core. But either way, Tiburon generally plays a hard farmer, and Naga is certainly one of those, despite the nerfs to the illusions, will be fairly effective. But here we will see Come and Learn Humility. Ember Spirit is going to be picked up here by paiN Gaming. So as I mentioned before, 4DR, King RD, very flexible, but we'll probably see King RD take this towards the safe lane with the Ember. Zeus in the mid lane for 4DR. We will see how that ends up going, but Ember, I like the pick here. Is pretty mobile. There's a lot of disable to deal with him, but a lot of magical damage as well that he's going to be able to soak up from that Flame Guard. And so therefore, I like the pick, but I do feel like it is feast or famine here for paiN Gaming and King RD, because if he does get locked down, which there is a lot of capability to do so, with the Waning Rift, with the Ice Path, with the Fire Blast, with the Ensnare, although generally the Ensnare will not be level up past level 1, if at all, early on for Tiburon. Ember Spirit is going to be a little bit worried in the strongest phase of the game for him, which is that kind of 12 to 16 minute mark. Ember is extremely powerful then, and then as he transitions through the early mid game into the late mid game, he falls off a bit, and then beyond that into the very late game, he comes back into relevance and actually becomes very strong. So we'll see if they're able to hit their timing window as well for paiN Gaming. Of course, they do have the Batrider for Grant XD here, or his stand-in, if that is the case. Not sure if VSW is Grant XD himself, but either way, they do have that available to them, and therefore he can take some of the onus off of the back of the Ember Spirit to make things happen here, and therefore the Ember should have a pretty good time. There's also a lot of magical damage. There is the global assist from the Zeus, so the Batrider Ember are a ganking duo that's very good. The global assist from the Zeus will be there. And speaking of global assist, as I mentioned earlier on, paiN, very, very proficient on this Invoker. I couldn't say he's on Ice or Black level, but he is good. And I have seen him make certainly a number of plays on this Invoker. So it looks like it should be paiN in the mid game, in the mid lane in this game. And we maybe will see Mercy in the off lane on that Puck. Perhaps we could see Puck in the safe lane with a Jakiro in the off lane, and perhaps they go aggro try, putting this Naga Siren in a support role. So still, that is a little bit up in the air. Definitely will see the Puck and Invoker in core roles here, but Tiburon, as I mentioned, always really goes for those hard farmers, so I do expect to support Jakiro here, and therefore I'm expecting Mercy Please in the off lane on the Puck. We will see a Sand King ban coming out here from VoidBoys, so the last pickup now for paiN Gaming will be incoming, and it certainly will be a support with the Tricore there right in the middle of your screen. Batrider, Zeus, Ember Spirit for paiN Gaming. None of those heroes very good in a support role. You could put the Batrider in the jungle and leave a solo offlaner with the Venge Ember duo in the bot lane, but not sure how strong that'll be. And they will pick up the Alk, so something I was super excited about when this patch came out is that the return of the farming Alchemist, and actually 4DR is going to pick that up. King RD picking up the Ember Spirit, so it'll be interesting to see. I guess this Zeus is in a support role, so my mistake, unless the Alchemist does end up playing a support role here, which I'm not a huge fan of. The buffs were to his farming capabilities. The buffs were to Greevil's Greed in the longer duration of the time after kills, that the Greed continues to linger, and also in the actual buff of the Greed itself. So I probably will see a core Alchemist here, especially considering 4DR is picking that up and Baga is picking up the Zeus. So we will hop right into the game, guys. Thanks for joining me once again. This is HeflaTV. I'm Marge, please, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster. paiN Gaming versus VoidBoys, and always, as we see between North and South America, we will have a pause at the start of the game, but let's introduce the teams. paiN playing on his signature Invoker for the VoidBoys in the mid lane. Omega Owner, and I do say own. I don't know if you guys used to watch pure ownage, but that's pronounced own, not pone. Either way, Ogre picked up here by Omega Owner. Fly is going to pick up the Jakiro in the support role. Tiburon will be playing that ever so cancerous Ebola one position Naga Siren. Mercy Please going to play towards the off lane on the Puck for the side of paiN Gaming. On the Radiant, Baga's picking up the support Zeus. VSW will play on the Vengeful Spirit, so very telling and appropriate name in that sense. And we will see taking towards the off lane is stand-in XX on the Batrider, and towards the mid lane will be 4DR on the Alchemist. Presumably, he will be 1 versus 1 up against the Invoker, so should do just fine. But they could also put King RD there on the Some Call Me Sheen Ember Spirit. That's one of my favorite heroes in the game. 4 words is plenty. So, says everything in 4 words. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but he does say most, if not everything, in 4 words. And he's going to go probably towards the safe lane. Pretty strong lane with him there. A lot of kill potential. They could put 4DR in the safe lane as well. As I mentioned, King RD and 4DR are pretty flexible in the roles they play. But we will see how they build. Yeah, it looks like he's going towards the safe lane. That build there indicates as such. 8 tangos, 1 stout shield. In the mid lane, 2 pooled tangos to King RD. So he will go towards that mid lane. And we'll see who gets these new bounty runes here. Guys, I don't know if you were privy to the patch notes, but those have been increased to 50 gold and 50 experience at the start as opposed to 25. Of course, they removed the early game other rune in the invis, regen, haste, etc., double damage. So there are 2 bounties now. And we will see if the teams encroach upon those to find those already. A little bit of scouting and the deep ward placed here by XX. And that's I'm going to give him some nice information as to the rotations through towards the mid lane and back towards the pole camp. Doesn't get the greatest vision here, but should find something in this area. And we will see perhaps a clash here. Fly doesn't have a skill point yet. And paiN not going to be able to do anything with 1 point either way, as he won't have Invoke. So I might see a clash in the jungle here. Actually, Baga taking quite a bit of harass. Will burn through a couple tangles already. Probably pulled one over to the mid lane, so just used a single tangle. He's going to take some more harass from Omega Owner. Not sure why he stood there. And you can't run from heaven, but sometimes heaven will run from you if you're a big fat ogre with a club. So King RD going towards that mid lane. He is going to be backed up for the time being by VSW, who will block up his lane for him, allowing him to grab up that bounty rune. Bounty rune also picked up by Mercy Please Puck on the bot lane. So off lane dual lane here of the Ogre Puck for VoidBoys, and that looks pretty good for them. Also, nice lane ward planted here from VoidBoys is going to allow Fly to be fairly aggressive in this lane and will allow paiN to farm. They're actually going to put Tiburon in the mid lane up against this Ember Spirit. Very bad matchup for the Naga Siren here. The Ember Spirit should be able to zone her out particularly well. I mean, he will take some Riptide harassment, but meanwhile, bot lane 4DR has been aggressed upon here. There is only an Ignite level 1, so they will put some harass into him, but he should be just fine for the time being. King RD, Tiburon trading blows in the mid lane. Riptide gone the way of the Ember Spirit. And XX looking to encroach himself in the trees fairly defensively. Doesn't want to take too much liquid fire harass. Is going to look to soak up a bit of experience here. And almost found his level 2, but he's going to have to wait till this wave approaches on his tower, and will be pings mid lane from XX. Not sure if he's going to go stack up right to the jungle here, but he needs a level 2, so perhaps that's what he's pinging to King RD, is that just give me a creep or 2 so I can retreat to the jungle with some sticky napalm. Pull through has been executed here by VSW, and Baga is going to be aggressed upon by Omega Owner and Mercy Please, but however, this will give 4DR some space to farm. He'll find 0 or 2 last hits in the lane. And so that's a little bit helpful to him, as he was zoned out a little bit there earlier. And mid lane is fairly much a wash at this point. 6 for 1 for the Naga Siren. And we will see the Ember at 7 and 3. Now paiN farming well on the Invoker here, as is Mercy Please 6 and 0 on the Puck, zoning out 4DR completely here. So perhaps Ember Spirit was a little better suited to deal with this Puck. So a little bit of perhaps a misplay from paiN in terms of the laning. Ember Spirit could have dealt well with that Puck, and Alk would have a fine time mid with the Acid Spray versus that Naga Siren. However, Fire Blast is there from Omega Owner. He won't be able to finish off Baga, who does rotate back up to the high ground. Meanwhile, Venge chasing down Omega Owner. He will be able to back off to the high ground. And we will see Mercy Please continue to farm up very well on this Puck in the offlane. So good decision early on to couple that Ogre with him with the early Ignite. And Tiburon going to get up to the high ground. He's going to pop a Searing Chains onto Tiburon here, but King RD not going to be able to continue to aggress there. Just a 2-0-2 build from him thus far. Only level 4, doesn't quite have the kill potential, but is pulling ahead a bit of this Naga Siren. As I mentioned early on, should be a favorable matchup for the Ember. He will find close to his level 5 here under the tower, and will be able to clean up a last hit underneath the tower there, but does miss one as well. Fly, only level 1 on the Jakiro, will now find his level 2. So that's certainly one thing, a little bit of an advantage for paiN. Actually, with that pull through, they didn't find much. Baga did find his level 2 here, so a little bit of burst damage. Omega Owner is rotating pretty deep here, is going to look to sentry up this camp, and he does it very intelligently at a good time to prevent the stacks here. Not much mana on XX, but the magic missile could come through here. The range there is available, and they will get over top of him. This will be a first blood for paiN Gaming. Brazil, Chiquero de la Samba. And that's fucking kill 1, baby, for paiN Gaming. And I'm Canadian. I should be going for VoidBoys, but of course I'm a caster. I'm not allowed to have bias here. Just a happy day all around for everyone. So I will be pretty happy about most of this action, as it has been a fairly passive laning stage. Big wave top lane. Gonna look to push in here with the liquid fire. They're gonna be able to zone out Baga, who's the only one in this off lane, as it was abandoned by XX. He will try to stack this camp. That will let him know that there is a sentry here blocking this. Mwah, 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 mwah. And that's not gonna happen. Baga gonna have to rotate back in the top lane. King RD is going to go look for this 4-minute rune, which has been secured by VSW. He'll fill up his bottle here, farming very well, 24 and 7 on that Ember Spirit, is at the top of the chart. paiN did have to do some zoning here in the offlane and is looking to push this tower, so it doesn't quite have the last hit that the Ember does. Has also given some over to Fly on the Jakiro, who has 6 last hits, which is the top of the supports. Tiburon's found a haste rune. He'll be able to throw a Riptide into King RD, but not going to have any kill potential. TPs are top. Tornado EMP will be there, though, with the Cold Snap. They're going to burn all of XX's mana, and nothing going to continue on from here. And he will burn down a few creeps, so find that. Ember Spirit almost level 6 in this mid lane. Tiburon not far behind on the Naga, but probably won't skill his ultimate. I'm just going to go for that max farming build, as Tiburon tends to do as the hard farmer for VoidBoys. He will catch a Riptide, but the Flame Guard going to drop that here. Searing Chains, not going to be committed. He probably doesn't have kill potential, so don't blame him there. If he had a triple Spirit Bomb, he certainly would have, but a little bit low on mana is King RD. Probably will wait for that next rune, and he will have the Siege Creep denied by a nicely timed mirror image. And 40 R's recovered fairly nicely. 20 last hits on this Alchemist to the 25 of Mercy Please across from him in the lane, and the 24 of paiN in his laning equivalent on the Invoker. Is going to look to pick up that Midas. Obviously very good on the Alchemist couples with the Greevil's Greed. And has he opted to skill it? Yeah, he's opted to max this. So very throwback build from 40R, and that's certainly what Valve intended to incentivize with these new changes. So everything looking fairly good for both sides. You would expect things to be fairly even in terms of the metrics, and they certainly are. Mercy Please gonna have a pretty early blink on this puck. He's already got his bottle and 1100 gold 6 minutes in, so certainly can aim for something like an 11-minute blink dagger. Chemical Rage is gonna be popped by 40R. That's just for some lane sustainability, as his supports are not around here. Phase Boots are gonna be ferried over mid to King RD. And with a full bottle, he will have some kill potential here in the mid lane if he gets any rotation in from any one of his supports with a stun from the VS. But they will finally take down this tier 1 in the top lane. 6.5 minutes in with a Jakiro is very good timing. Not even full max liquid fire at this point. Is only level 2 on the level 4 Jakiro, as you would expect it to be. They finally will deward this and allow XX to find a little bit more with his jungle. He's got 1700 gold on the Bat Rider, so as you would expect him to do, is completely rushing Blink. Firefly not going to quite get him to the high ground, so gonna stifle his farm ability a little bit, and therefore he will have to rotate back to base for the time being. I may have a rare Mike Loris sighting. Mike, can you hear me?
I could hear you, actually. I just needed a hard restart. Hopefully everything sounds fine for everyone.
Yeah, certainly for me, so hopefully everything looking good. Just check my mixer, and everything does look pretty good for the stream. So welcome into the game. Score is 1-1, 7 minutes in. paiN Gaming looking good, but the puck for Mercy Please on VoidBoys farming very well. Something certainly to be worried about. Should have about simultaneous Blink Dagger timing as XX's Batrider.
And that's something that paiN are going to really struggle to deal with. The stuns that they have are definitely not the stuns that they really need to deal with the puck. It's very easy to dodge the projectiles of both the Alchemist's concoction as well as the missile. Maybe Batrider Lasso will trump it, but right now Batrider's still a little bit of ways away until that blink happens. So Mercy Please should be fine to get his Blink Dagger. Yeah, and if he plays the Lasso well, he can phase into a Waning Rift, and that'll really throw a wrench into the plans of paiN. So we will see who is able to get the aggression queued up first. With these blink timings, Mercy Please already sitting on 2k gold, 2150 for the Batrider, so maybe just a fraction of a minute ahead of this puck here. But King RD farming well in the mid lane, as is paiN on the Invoker with the safe lane for VoidBoys, so it will be interesting to see how early he gets involved. He has opted for a Quaz Wex build here, so definitely will be looking to team fight. Yeah, and it's going to be a pretty decent build. They have lockdown, so I think Exort is justifiable for paiN, but you know, what's done is done. Going for Wex is just fine. It's a good response tool up against the Batrider. As long as you're not the one getting lassoed, then a quick Tornado or a quick Song of the Siren. Yeah. Either way, VoidBoys have answers to that. We also see King RD packing an Invis Rune, and he might be running into a Naga Siren who really doesn't want to be running into an Ember Spirit at this stage of the game. If he finds her, that's either a kill or Song of the Siren use, and either way, not good for the Siren. Yeah, Song of the Siren, very large cooldown at this point, level 180 seconds, so they will be able to aggress onto her if they don't garner the kill off the first
initiation here, and he will have the triple spirit bomb as well with a full mana pool, so definitely does have kill potential as you mentioned. And yeah, I guess the Bat Rider is what is incentivized paiN to go for this Quaz Wex here, but I mean, with the Chemical Rage from the Alk, the Flame Guard from the Ember, I don't know how effective that EMP is going to be elsewhere, but either way is good versus the Zeus as well. I probably would have liked a little more push power to couple with the Jakiro.
Yeah, I think in general I favored the Exhort a lot better, and if you drain someone like Ember Spirit out of mana, then yeah, that could probably screw him over pretty poorly, but I'm not too sure if this Wex build is what I would have gone for.
Right.
We'll see if it actually works out. Judging by his score, I'm inclined to think that paiN was just chilling on the top lane the entire time.
Yeah.
And if you're running a Wex Invoker, you want to be moving around as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, certainly. So we'll see if he goes for that early Orchid. He's already got a Sage's Mask in tow, so probably will be the choice from him. The little bit late Midas picked up here by 4DR around the 7.5, 8 minute mark, so not terrible timing, especially considering how hard he was harassed out by this Ogre Puck duo off lane. But we'll see the Ember looking in the jungle for Tiburon. He's not going to find him, just a litany of illusions, so he will not find that, and wisely so doesn't pop the invis, but we'll just look to farm up a double stack here, so gonna put a little bit of an economic damage into VB.
That's not gonna really bother them too much, but King RD is still healthy enough once he bottles up to put some pressure onto Tiburon, and really as long as you can mess with the Naga Siren at all, you're probably going to be relatively okay, though I think paiN, they haven't done a good enough job at shutting down the Siren. No deaths, no pressure really applied to her thus far in the game, and she doesn't even have to mess around with drums or anything like that. She could just straight up rush her Radiance, and it looks like that is going to be what she's doing as long as she doesn't pick up anything else. So VoidBoys, I think they're 100% okay with this happening. It's really up to paiN to make something happen, and it might start on the Ogre, who's going to run into an Alchemist stun, and well, nice Tornado, it blows the coil onto everyone pretty much, and jump in from the Bat Rider a little bit too late. In fact, doesn't even have the lasso, just at level 6. So it's still just the Vengeful Spirit to die as Baga's going to chase down Mercy Please. Puck should be fine, but that was not really the initiation that paiN really wanted. They're going to charge forward for more. Omega Opponent might die to the Bat, but no, another Orb Ice Path. That will be the death of the Bat. Here comes King RD. Wants to turn things around with someone. Gets ignited for his troubles. Mercy Please, 4 HP survival. Really? Are you really going to live at 4 HP? Yes, you will. Okay, that just happened.
Oh, it's extremely unfortunate for King RD. At the very start of the initiation, they completely overlapped Unstable Concoction and Magic Missile and got hit by that coil with the Tornado EMP. Really spelled doom. They're lucky to only lose what they did from the side of paiN there, but we'll see paiN rotate through with the Ghost Walk and a double damage room. He's not going to have any kill potential here, presumably.
Well, if he has Cold Snap... Oh, wait, that's a kill potential. That's Courier right there. Might not be a hero, but you know what? I'd take the Courier pretty much any day of the week. Yeah,
absolutely. 170 got 5 gold, going the way of everyone on VoidBoys. Scores 3-1, 10.5 minutes in, and they've really taken some sort of an advantage here. The graphs were fairly much equal up to this point, but 2,500 net worth lead now amassed by VoidBoys, and with the Ghost Walk, they are looking to make something happen. 4 heroes in this bot lane. They're going to have to dive fairly deep, though, as 4DR and VSW are postured up pretty defensively behind their tier 1.
This is some really aggressive space that's being created. Tiburon nowhere near this engagement, yet VoidBoys powerful enough to really not need the Naga Siren at this stage. So all the while, paiN are thinking about how are we going to defend the bottom lane, how are we going to hold on to our towers, and VoidBoys is saying we don't actually have to take your towers because we have a Naga Siren farming as the real plan behind this. They're going to run into Fly, who's already pretty weakened, though ADR gets stunned up beforehand. Here comes the Ember Spirit looking for some chains, will land onto both Fly and Mercy Please. Dual Breath maybe to disengage, although Fly kind of running the wrong way, gets struck down by Zeus. And it looks like that might be it, although paiN also gets caught by a lasso. Is there anything else to lock him down? Ember Spirit jump forward, Concoction, coiled a little bit too late. It will be the death of the Invoker. VoidBoys maybe getting a little bit too in over their heads.
Yeah, well, good job by paiN there to punish them. They'll take 2 clean kills, but as you mentioned before, all the meanwhile, Tiburon farming very well at this point, and as you mentioned earlier, it really was, the onus was on paiN Gaming and their supports to rotate and make things happen against this Naga Siren, but they really didn't bring anyone towards mid, and despite having a favorable matchup with the Ember versus Naga, they're not able to punish Tiburon. He's got 2,900 gold at this point, 12 minutes in, so the Relic should be here in about a minute and a half, and that's a pretty damn good timing for the mid lane matchup he had.
And still there's no pressure at all from the side of paiN, even though their late game isn't too bad. I mean, they do have heroes that can shut down that Naga Siren. A very farmed Alchemist, if he's packing any sort of AoE, probably Mjolnir if anything, but that and a Basher can shut down the Naga Siren pretty decently. You have the Ember Spirit, who's also probably going to be going for some sort of AoE in the Battle Fury, so though it is kind of risky, if paiN really want to, they could try to take this late game up against Naga Siren.
Yeah, I guess it would be interesting to see the power of this carry Alchemist once again with the buffs to Grievel's Greed. Yeah, and certainly so, as you mentioned. I believe when the Courier was killed, it was carrying a Glove of Haste, so probably would have been the Maelstrom build for 4DR early and often to help his farm acceleration, also deal with those illusions from the Naga Siren. But as you can see on the CS chart, Tiburon is king right now, 85 CS, 13 minutes in, and well on his way to his relic at 3,400 gold. But mid lane, we could see a wrap here up on the high ground. Omega Owner gonna run into Baga, jump forward, Waning Rift, Illusory Orb, Ice Path is there as well, and that's a Frieza Port Zeus for VoidBoys. So not exactly the target they may have been looking for, but either way, free clean kill.
Yeah, a kill is a kill, and that's more nuke damage that they don't have to worry about. That's one more hero that the Naga Siren doesn't have to worry about. A little bit close to the Batrider, and actually, Batrider has an opportunity right now. If he had a Blink Dagger on cooldown, he would probably jump for this kill and might even get it, but instead he has to back off, not quite healthy enough, or doesn't have the cooldowns to work with. Yet there's going to be a fight brewing over towards mid. Mercy Please in the front lines, going to be pushed back by the wave, and well, VoidBoys don't really have to push that aggressively because, again, Timberod's farming, and he is pretty much at his relic at this point.
Yeah, and we'll see TP bot to paiN, so it looks like VoidBoys going to disengage and not look to fight here. King RD looking for someone top. They do have this aggressive vision here in the jungle, so they will see Tiburon rotate in. They're actually going to scout him out with the Thunder God's Wrath. They're going to pick off Mercy Please on the other side of the map. King RD chasing very deep. He should find Tiburon here. The Searing Chains do latch. Flame Guard is there as well. Big kill onto Tiburon, but he did purchase up that relic just before dying, so well played by him. Disciplined play to grab that before he loses his unreliable gold.
Yeah, it's a kill for paiN for sure, and it's a kill on the enemy carry, so as far as that is concerned, it's nice, but it could have come a minute earlier, and that would have been crippling to the Naga Siren.
Yeah,
instead, Naga Siren doesn't really care. Her Radiance is going to be delayed by a little bit, but as long as you get that relic up, that's the real hard part, and in that sense, the kill came too late.
Yeah, they did find Mercy Please across the map, so nice little consolation prize for paiN. 4DR going to farm up the mid lane a little bit aggressively here. Is a little bit susceptible to a gank, starting with Omega Owner, but with that new nerfed range on the Fire Blast, he should be able to back off if he sees it coming, as long as he keeps high ground vision here. And they will rotate in one more from paiN, but he is going to catch that Fire Blast, jump forward, Waning Rift, Ice Path is there as well. And just overstaying his welcome is 4DR, and they punish him for it.
I think the creep wave was like near the last step, so if they just like jumped up, they could have seen the Ogre Magi coming in, because it definitely didn't seem like they had vision of that. But now it's going to be the Venge to get caught out. I guess you really wanted that deny, but that didn't happen.
Hefla subscribers, raise your 322. That was a little bit questionable on that one. I am lagging a bit, but it seems like things smoothed out there. And now, so paiN continuing to farm in this bot lane. As you mentioned, Quaz Wex, but seems to be playing almost like the Naga, not getting too involved here. So a little bit questionable, but has picked up a Oblivion Staff, is well on his way to that second one, 700 gold from that Quarterstaff, and another 775 from the Recipe. So not too far off the Orchid. Is probably a little bit late for how much he's been farming at 16 minutes. So probably somewhere around an 18-minute Orchid, which certainly isn't bad, but definitely they will be able to use that. And they are going to aggress on this tier 1 bottom, which they do have a glyph for from the side of paiN, and they definitely should use, but not sure that they're able to defend this. They do have 4 TPs available. King RD does not have one, and they're certainly going to need that Ember Spirit, so they probably won't be able to mount a defense here.
Tiburon might just be the luckiest person of all time. He was farming up the hard camp where the paiN heroes are currently near. They came in right when the Naga Siren was pulling the camp away, so they saw an empty camp. They figured, oh, she must have left. She knew we're coming, but Naga Siren was just fighting the creeps over to the north, and then she leaves as soon as paiN comes back in again. So that's going to give the Naga Siren her completed Radiance purely by a stroke of luck, and they're also going to maybe find King RD right now. Ember Spirit's going to get swapped out. Here comes EMP Tornado, which will connect onto, well, the Tornado will connect onto the Vengeful Spirit. That will be a kill for the Jakiro. Another kill for VoidBoys, a little bit more space for the Naga Siren, and they're looking pretty darn good right now. Maybe even going to ride this Jakiro into a tier 2.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the loyal and valiant Vengeful Spirit, saving his 2 role there, his carry or mid laner, but Either way, going to feed his own death over, and VoidBoys certainly happy to take that, especially with Tiburon now picking up the full Radiance and looking to accelerate his farm. He should continue to just widen the gap here. 17 minutes in, is barely ahead of 4DR on the net worth board, but he should look to widen that gap now, even despite Midas and Greevil's greed with that Radiance. And we will look for actually a Battle Fury pickup, despite me thinking earlier it was a Maelstrom for 4DR. So either way, some AoE, as you mentioned, some illusion clear, and it will also accelerate his farm. So he is still a little bit off of that. Does need about 200 gold before that Perseverance to finish that up.
Man, we're on US East, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is
yeah, we are.
Not going to be a smooth game at all.
South America, North America, always fun. But either way, yeah, Tiburon, just let me farm, guys. Got my Radiant, sub 18 minutes. Sub 17, I should say. And everything else looking pretty good for VoidBoys. Take a look at the metrics. 5k net worth lead, 1500 in experience, so a little bit tame in terms of experience, but 2k is now onto King RD. He's gone for phase drums. That's pretty standard on the Ember. We'll probably look to go to a Battle Fury next as well. Does deal with the Naga well and increase his ability to farm, but hasn't been too active in this mid game. Only 2-0-1 on the Ember. Hasn't fed any deaths over. Probably should have in the river if it wasn't for the VS, but only been involved in 3 kills, and paiN altogether as a squad only have 5.
So paiN, they are not in the worst position, but they're definitely not in the position that they would really like to be in, especially considering that they just had a couple of their Ancients jacked, and they're also going to catch King RD. What are you doing here, Ember Spirit? He knew his allies were up on the hill, but up on the hill is not right with you, and maybe that was a lag thing?
Perhaps. It certainly looked like one, and I would definitely use the excuse if I was playing King RD there. But Baga also throwing a Thunder God's Wrath in. That's a 90-second cooldown that got them absolutely nothing. Doesn't even get a hero relatively low, so a little bit questionable there. But yeah, Ember going to die here, and he's going to drop off to 5th overall, just under paiN on the net worth chart. He will feed over 250 of his 2,000 gold at the time as well, so that's going to set him back quite a ways on looking for that Battle Fury. And 17 minutes in, not exactly farming well considering how well his mid lane went.
Well, it's still going to be reasonable enough, I would say. We have paiN packing the Orchid, and he's probably going to be looking for kills soon enough, and if someone like Zeus shows his face, Tornado going to be thrown right down the lane. You have to be some sort of noob to get hit by that, and Baga will dodge it very easily. So no blood on the mid lane just yet, but really VoidBoys, they're in complete control of the game, and really you would expect paiN to be on the aggressive with the heroes that they have right now, given the circumstances. Late game Alchemist used to be a real big thing, not so much anymore. You can still get the job done, but when you have the likes of Ember and a Zeus support especially, you really need to be doing a little bit more than they're doing right now.
Yeah, definitely so. Not sure if the Alch will be quite enough for this Naga, although there was the nerf to illusion damage to structures, so perhaps with a buyback they look to make things happen, as it is going to take a little bit longer there for them to break base for VoidBoys. But either way, they have a lot of ways to deal with that, and they do have the Liquid Fire from the Jagero. Unfortunately, they have a Cross Wex Invoker, so they won't have the Forged Spirits for that. But we will see rotations into the enemy jungle simultaneously by both teams. The difference is that paiN may be able to find Tiburon here, as no one is occupying the Radiant jungle, so... And they do have vision in the Radiant jungle, so not sure what exactly they're looking for. And Tiburon is going to get jumped in, lassoed up here. King RD is there with the Searing Chains as well. Magic Missile. They'll find the Naga highest priority target, and that will allow 4DR to recover a little bit of net worth there, and he's almost at parity now with that Greevil's Greed stacking up with the Naga Siren.
Kill's a kill, and that's always nice to have. Unfortunately for paiN, once again, they come just 1 minute too late, because literally as soon as that Naga Siren got jumped, right before that, she picked up her travels. So once again, she didn't really lose any gold. She wasn't slowed down by that much. It's downtime where she's not farming, yeah, but as far as the kill is concerned, it could have come at such a better time. So paiN, if they had 1 minute to rewind for this entire game, they would be in such a better position, especially considering top lane is going to be set up for King RD. He is silenced. He really doesn't have any options right now except to just go down, and going down he will. Ember Spirit down, and Invoker is going to claim that one more or less solo. That's also going to be a tower deny. This Ember Spirit is, first of all, not a hero you want to play when there's lag. but also is just not having a great time. And he's going for a Yasha build. I don't really know about this.
No, not a big fan as well, and certainly, especially when he's this far behind, perhaps just looking to find any source of damage. A little bit of movement speed might be valuable here, as there's so many silences to deal with him. But there's also the Cold Snap. Even the Ensnare later on is now level 1 from the Naga. There's also the Disables, of course, from the Jakiro, the Ogre, the Puck. So many ways to deal with this Ember, despite having the Flame Guard to take him up versus the magical damage. And we will see paiN rotating down here in the Ghost Walk form, looking for something. Blink forward. Coil's completely going to whiff. Nice Eul Scepter by Fly is actually going to thwart his own teammate's Coil, but they'll bring down the Venge easily. Side of Fist Searing Chains from the low ground. Omega Owner going to be dragged down with the lasso. Tornado is going to land on King RD though, and that'll allow him to get off a Fire Blast, but the Thunder God's Wrath and the Flame Break will be there to bring down the Ogre. 1 for 1 so far. King RD will Remnant up to the high ground, and they will get a Searing Chains on paiN. He will drop to the Acid Spray despite the Song of the Siren being popped, and VoidBoys will have to turn tail and run. They will also scout out Fly with that Lightning Bolt. They'll find him with a Flame Break as well. And so that's a 3 for 1 going the way of paiN, and a nice little tower defense from them. 714 experience, 450 gold going their way.
Once the Ogre goes down to the low ground, your push is over. It's worthwhile to save him, I suppose. He's pretty tanky, but they really didn't have enough to get down to the low ground and also get the Ogre out of there, and it just forced them to sit in a position where there were teleportations from both the top tower available and the mid tower, so that the Alchemist could wrap around, and that's exactly what he did. So VoidBoys found themselves in a sandwich, and that's never really where you want to be. So they kind of got suckered in a little bit too far by paiN, and in that regard, well done by paiN. They make sure that VoidBoys are kept out of position, and though the initiation on their Vengeful Spirit was not exactly the idea, now Vengeful might get killed off, but paiN, no, actually going to get stunned up and chopped to pieces. The damage is real. It's going to be Alchemist and Ember Spirit to save the Vengefuls' life this time, until Ogre comes in and kills her.
So a lucky haste rune for Omega Owner, feeling pretty good there, but the Coil's going to drop on King RD as well. He should be able to Remnant out here, but there is an Ice Path. Will they have the damage to bring him down? There's another Fire Blast. He is able to try, but he goes down here, so King RD going to fall. Lightning Bolt going to come in. XX going to Firefly towards the low ground. He's going to get Fire Blasted up here, though. Thunder God's Wrath and a buyback from King RD, and they will be able to bring down Mercy Please. They're now chasing Omega Owner as well. They won't find anyone else, so not quite sure if that buyback is worth it from King RD. They do bring down the Puck, but overall, pretty even exchange, actually, net-wise. Things pretty much absolute dead even. And Tiburon going to catch a Sleight of Fist here, but he'll be just fine, as he is able to use that mirror image to disjoint things and back off. Meanwhile, though, bot lane, Eul's up onto 40R. This is a huge kill if they're able to get it. Macropyre is there with the Dual Breath, EMP, Fire Blast. And one last right click from paiN will bring down the Alchemist, and that is huge, as he's developed a 3k margin between him and the Naga, and now she will be able to catch up with that. But meanwhile, Boots of Travel picked up now for XX, so he will be able to be a little more influential on the map with this Force Blink and Bots build.
And so VoidBoys kind of slipping away a little bit, and they might lose the Puck. Oh no, it's actually a overshot Blink by the Bat Rider. Don't really see that too often, but if you do mess up, you probably won't get the kill, and Puck does manage to survive. Still in the Firefly, still has King RD in the area to maybe help out, but they're going to be looking for Tiburon, and they might be running an intercept course on this Naga Siren. She does have a song. She will spot this out, and she will think about the song. No, sing. A little bit too late. Hesitation just killed off Tiburon. No, actually, she's still alive. Not enough damage just yet. They can actually turn things around to kill off the Venge. They're going to try to get both. They will definitely get one here, although there is backup incoming in the form of the Ember Spirit. No, the Bat straight blinks out of there. Now Tiburon is going to get isolated alone with King RD. The Ember Shield will burn her down, and they will get the Bat Rider in the end, but the Venge does TP out. Looks like they will get King RD. Actually, that probably worked out pretty well for VoidBoys, and though they do lose their Naga Siren, that really wasn't part of the plan. They do get 2 kills for it.
Yeah, and 40R just respawned as well, so it's not like he was farming in the meantime. So I still think, as you mentioned, good trade for VoidBoys regardless. And a little bit of overzealousness looking for that Naga, knowing that the sleep was available. They really didn't have the burst to bring her down. And King RD just having a very rough time on the Ember Spirit. 5th overall on net worth. Has been silenced up quite a bit and disabled. Very good toolkit from VoidBoys to deal with him thus far.
Yet, despite that, he's still doing some pretty decent damage. Like, the Naga Siren wasn't too healthy to start things out, but Ember Spirit, just with his initial kit, just with having Searing Chains and having the Sleight of Fist and having the Flame Guard, he does do a lot of damage just with his base skills alone. So Ember Spirit, though he's underfarmed, not really where you want to be, he's still doing okay. However, this is not where we want to be. Mercy Please, he's going to jaunt himself out of there, and EMP plus Cold Snap X can't really go anywhere, and he will be brought down. Also ignited Baga in the process. I think that was a multicast. So now Baga's in quite a bit of trouble. Tornado will not create the noose, but it will land him into an Ice Path, and that will kill him off. That's 2 kills for VoidBoys right there.
Yeah, a little bit slow to pull the trigger there was XX on the Batrider. He wasn't able to get that lasso off onto Mercy Please, and perhaps that stops things there, but then he's able to phase shift and Waning Rift, as I mentioned earlier on. An easy kill on XX. They followed up with Baga as well, and may look to put some chip damage into this tier too. They certainly will be able to slow siege it with the liquid fire, but will look to back off for the time being now and continue to allow their Naga to farm. Mercy Please looks like he's building into a Hex with the Void Stone, but actually just finishes the Yules here, so definitely a very nice item on the puck. Will be able to set up the Jakiro as well, who already has a Yules of his own, so a lot more initiation power for VoidBoys. They can set up EMP as well with that and save the Tornado for defensive usage, but either way, certainly a nice pickup on the puck.
King RD, he's going to get a Faithful Dual Scepter. Here comes Mercy Please with additional magic damage. Ember Spirit, yeah, that's been pretty much the name of the game so far. Ember Spirit just wanders around thinking he's safe, and usually you are, but Yule Scepter into Ice Path into Puck combo is way too much damage for him, especially when you can't get your Flame Guard off, so that's another casualty for paiN. And also as a side note, that Yule Scepter on Puck, one of the best answers to the Batrider. It just is instant, and it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, certainly so. Definitely is a great counter, so well drafted by VoidBoys. Tiburon's picked up his casual Yasha, probably building into the Manta, if not gonna go into a little bit more damage for now, but either way has 2100 gold, so we'll be able to pick up that ultimate orb in a few ticks if he chooses to go for the Manta. It's probably the build here, as he is able to dodge at least the Searing Chains or even the magic missile if he plays well with that. Definitely so the concussive or the unstable concussive shot. Either way, coil out onto Baga, orb forward, negative earn charge, and one last right click from behind with the Cold Snap. Magic Missile gonna go out onto Mercy Please, but he's gonna use up the Vengeful. EMP is there as well with the Waning Rift. Will it land? It does. It burns all VSW's mana. Unstable Concoction is gonna get dodged by Mercy Please. Easy disengage for VoidBoys, and they pick off Baga with relative ease there. King RD just respawning now. So they will look to mount a defense on this top lane. Fly is here alone, so perhaps there is some solo kill potential. King RD drops a defensive remnant into the trees though, and is just going to look to clean up the wave for now, as there is the Yule Scepter Ice Path initiation looming nearby. Ghostwalk paiN in the mid lane, looking for 40R here. He'll wisely back off though, and maybe scouted out, however, by the illusions from Tiburon.
Oh, Fly got pulled up all the way to the high ground. Yule Scepter will not save him unless everyone on paiN just leaves, in which case it will save him, because the rest of the VoidBoys, they're coming in, and Fly is pretty lucky to be alive. Song of the Siren to catch nobody. Okay, they do catch the Vengeful Spirit though. Yule Scepter into Ice Path. That will be 1 kill. Now, will it be anyone else to fall? Mercy Please locked down from the chains, and ADR is coming in. Has an Assault Cuirass, so he's very tanky, very difficult to kill, but VoidBoys have enough burst. And US East, if you could stop being terrible right now, that would be fantastic.
Volvo, please. Either way, I mean, 40R is farming extremely well. He's got his AC, Manta, Battle Fury Treads, Midas. 28 minutes in, 18k, almost 19k net worth. But either way, we just haven't seen the effects of him yet in any of these engagements. There's so many ways for them to lock him down, disengage, burn his mana from VB. They've just itemized so well and drafted even better to deal with all the heroes really from paiN Gaming. And it's really showing, despite paiN having the top farmer, Void are following it up with the next 3 on that net worth chart. And XX has been shut down a lot on the Batrider. He's not been able to get off too many influential lassos, and we saw the last one there to no avail. Brings the Jakiro up to the high ground, but once again, too little burst, just as with Tiburon in the top lane on the Naga, and they get turned on.
Well, I mean, there is the fact that there's clearly some really bad lag going on, so Batrider's getting hit by that, Ember Spirit's really getting hit by that, this courier might get hit by that, and he will, trying to make a delivery, or did make a delivery, I suppose, to the Ember Spirits. No, why was the courier there? There was no one there.
It had nothing on it, and Ember has no new items, so not exactly sure why it was there. Ember Spirit building into a Manta, so really he has been bothered by these silences, evidently, And he is going to look to at least purge one of them. But either way, they just have so many ways to deal with this. I feel like he'd much rather be going for a BKB or a damage item at this point. Either way, 40 are going to continue to farm up. Omega Owner's going to find him here with an Invis Rune, though. And Tiburon is there. There's the Fire Blast as well. Coil even going to be committed. Sunstrike not even needed. And 40 are going to drop here. Huge kill for VoidBoys. 12-21 is your score. 29 minutes into the game. They may even find Baga here with the Eul Scepter. Waning Rift not available here. He will Thunder God's Wrath, but he's not going to bring down Mercy Please. The lasso will be there, however, from XX as Baga drops. So they will trade back the puck, which is nice. Magic Missile into Omega Owner's face. Swap back to King RD. He's actually going to swap him forward, and he will get a Sleight of Fist Searing Chains onto Omega Owner. So this will make it, I guess, an even trade at this point. They will find the puck and the Ogre for the Zeus and the Alk. But Macropyre, Ice Path, EMP, Tornado there from paiN and Fly. They'll bring down Batrider. King RD is silenced up. Ensnare is there as well. Deafening Blast. And he will stick up, but will end up dropping as well. Eul Scepter up onto VSW. Fly going to hit him with a Liquid Fire and the Ice Path. Venge, no mana, but he will have an Urn Charge perhaps to help him heal up as he runs here. Ice Path is going to land, though, easily shot by Fly. He doesn't even really need any assistance with the Dual Breath. And the Orchid even going to be popped there by paiN, and he will actually find the kill for the Invoker. So 4 for 2. So as soon as I started speaking about even trades here, VB taking a big advantage in that one.
That was starting off with killing the Alchemist, and once that's off the table, it gets a lot easier for VoidBoys. They were disengaging in a very odd way. They were all running to the north, just like they were just trying to retreat, and that's all well and good, but they had reinforcements coming in the form of Invoker Jakiro the entire time, so VoidBoys probably could have gotten away with even fewer casualties than they did, but
yeah.
You know, that being said, they still walked away with a massive team fight that they won, so can't really be too upset about that, and they're just going to get more and more ahead by taking that team fight. Now they're going to take Roshan. Also, kind of unrelated, gotta love the level 1 Sunstrike kill steal from paiN. Like, classic.
Yeah, I didn't even know like that had enough damage regardless. Tiburon is going to rotate over to the Roche Pit now. He's got 3,400 gold in the bank in addition to his Manta. He's actually going to Song just to secure the Roche kill. And
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, well played there. Certainly worth getting that advantage. And they will Eul's up King RD. There's going to be a Waning Rift to follow. Actually, the Orchid is there. He's going to Manta out of that, though. And he will be able to Remnant to the north and towards the side shop. So King RD finally going to survive, so maybe worth the Manta pick up there. As it would have been a big death at this point. Right after the Roche, they would have been able to transition that certainly into a push. And Ember does not have buyback available at the moment. He's 700 gold short as well, so that could have been a huge kill for VoidBoys.
Yeah, the problem with that is that it'll work when you get jumped with the Invoker. It'll work when you maybe get jumped with a puck, but if it's anyone else, if it's anyone with a hard lockdown, a Tornado EMP won't completely burn out the Ember Spirit's mana, but if it does, then he's completely screwed, or if it makes him not be able to split, or if it's an Ice Path or a Fire Blast, then that Manta style will just not work out for him. So in that situation, in that exact situation, it's what he wants, but that situation might not come up all the time. So as far as item selection, maybe not the best, but speaking of, it's going to be X. I don't know why I said speaking of. This is completely irrelevant, but X is going to burn.
And Sunstrike attempted once again from paiN, but they'll bring him down before that lands. And the Batrider down for 45 seconds now. I mean, he doesn't really need any other items, but he has been shut down by these Euls as well as the Silence and the Lockdown. So as you mentioned, is pretty ineffective at this point, and King RD hasn't found much as well. Sleight of Fist Searing Chains not going to land mid lane. He's going to get Eulsed up once again by Fly. There's the Ice Path. Macropyre, Waning Rift should be there as well. He is able to Manta that out, and he does zip away. Coil a little bit late from the puck here, and they will look for Wrap on the backside. Baga's going to get Eulsed up. There's the Dagon from Mercy Please, and that'll finish off the Zeus very quickly. Not in a farming role. Zeus is pretty underwhelming. Has been able to pick up his level 11, but that's the absolute bottom of the experience chart. 32 minutes in the game.
It's kind of to be expected when you're a pure damage support. You either do your job or you fail miserably, and it's going to be one of those games where the pure damage support just doesn't get anything done. He's still doing an okay amount of damage, all things considered, but ADR, you do not want to be here. He's going to get hit with every single stun in the book. Omega Plunder's kind of getting unlucky with his multicast rolls. Even for the level 16 hero. Jump forward from the Batrider, not even going to use the lasso. Gets thrown up into the air by a Cyclone. And VoidBoys, they have a chance to cleanly disengage now, and it looks like they will group up and back off as teams. Have the Aegis still, Song of the Siren to cleanly disengage. No longer a chance for paiN to continue. And it looks like Ice Path set up onto 2 Macropyre there as well. KingRD and X both can take a truckload of damage. In fact, they will both die instantly. Here comes the Venge, but that's not reinforcements. That's just food. One more Fire Blast, a couple more right clicks. EMP might explode the Venge. No, she's already dead. And Baga can't do anything but watch. ADR can't do anything but watch. VoidBoys lose Jakiro, but take a whole boatload of kills in exchange. And I have that feeling that we're not going to see the conclusion of this series just because this is just unbearable lag.
Yeah, really unfortunate for paiN there. They go for the re-engage there. They land a Sleight of Fist steering chains as well as the concoction. So 3 heroes at least disabled, if not stunned, purely. And a beautifully timed Song of the Siren from Tiburon to destroy all 3 of those. And they're able to turn it around with a nicely placed Ice Path from Fly, and as you mentioned, melting the Ember and the Batrider very quickly there. 4DR just has to turn tail and run. So once again, Alchemist farmed as hell, still ahead of Tiburon, but we still haven't seen the effects of him in any team fights thus far. And he does have 3,400 gold, so we'll be able to build into that 3rd tier 1 item, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's been using it to great effect thus far. And Mercy Please, as well as the Jakiro and paiN, able to really control the tempo of these fights.
And that's really where the Wex Invoker comes up a little bit ahead over the Exort Invoker. You have that additional bit of control. You're able to drain a lot of his mana, Cold Snap, all these small things that are just going to mess with him. A maxed out Wex has insane disarm from Deafening Blast. I don't believe there's been many Deafening Blast casted, but if you land on an Alchemist, he's just completely useless if he doesn't have a split available. So the Invoker has the right kit in order to deal with the Alchemist, and all of that amplified by the fact that it is an Assault Cuirass. So Alchemist's damage, though pretty decent, is not exactly where he wants it to be. Yeah,
certainly so. And they don't really have too much physical damage for that Assault Cuirass to supplement. They do have the Ember Spirit, of course, but I probably would have liked to see maybe a Maelstrom Mjolnir build rather than that AC at this point, as there isn't too much physical from the side of VoidBoys either. But I mean, Assault Cuirass pretty standard on the Alchemist, but either way, not sure if it was so good situationally here. But yeah, paiN definitely making me a believer in Quaz Wex in this one.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice build if you can get it to work correctly.
Yeah.
And I would say in this game, it's pretty nice. Let's be honest, the odds of him landing a Sunstrike when he's spiking, very low. So
yeah.
You gotta make the correct build given your server status.
Yeah, definitely so. Making the right choice there. Tiburon's sitting on a Heart of Tarrasque recipe as well as 4,400 gold, so he will be able to one-shot that as we get off the pause at the secret shop here. And he actually already has the Vit booster, so 4,400 gold in addition to that. Will still have 1,200 after purchasing up that Reaver, and is looking to farm very well, and also getting pretty scary now with that Heart. They're going to have a lot of trouble bringing him down. I mean, they do have the Wave of Terror, but as we've seen, 4DR not really able to get involved with his physical damage thus far. And so KingRD not really picked up anything since around the 20-minute mark when he got that Manta style. So really underwhelming on the Ember Spirit. Definitely is a hard game for him, so don't want to take anything away, especially with the lag. You definitely want good reaction time with that Ember. But also for X on the Batrider, hasn't really been able to get any good lassos off after the immediate pickup of the Blink Dagger, where he got a couple pickoffs, even in that top lane, failing to gank that Naga, being turned on there, as well as on the high ground on their side of the map. So things not looking good for paiN. Taking a look at the metrics, 13k-ish net worth lead, as well as an excess of 15k lead in experience for VoidBoys.
Batrider is one of those heroes that if you are not actually getting those good lassos off, if that's not what you're doing, then the hero sucks. Like, the hero is absolutely terrible. So it's either you have to lasso someone and bring them back into your base and then kill them off, or bust. And so far it's been bust after bust. Dual Scepters being an absolute terror for the Batrider. He just can't find his initiation because of lag or poor positioning or whatever. But it's just a hero that paiN are not really working with right now. And Firefly damage, Flame Break damage, that's it's not going to cut it. It's not worth picking a hero. So for VoidBoys, they are playing around this Batrider pretty well, whether intentionally or not.
Yeah, something interesting I didn't mention or even notice up to this point. It looks like a late Midas opted for here from Mercy Please, and after getting that Blink and Yules, and probably just using that to get his levels up, as well as grab some more additional recipes for that Dagon. So you saw it to use there one time to Baga in the jungle, but will supplement their burst damage here and allow them to bring down some of these squishier targets more easily, or even the Ember Spirit during the silence. They'll have a lot to burn off this Flame Guard, which is only absorbing 500 magic damage, so basically 2 nukes from many of the main cores from VB. And so yeah, definitely hard pressed to come back in this one for paiN. What do you think, if any, the plays are for paiN to make to come back in this one?
They just have to turtle. They have to get the lassos off. If they do that, if they bring him, anyone really, back into an Alchemist stun, an Vengeful Spirit stun, and Zeus damage, easy kills, easy way to get back into the game. Other than that, they are pretty much linearly scaling from here on out. Yeah. Both teams are. So when you have a team that's already in the advantage, then, well, obviously you could do the math there yourself. They're going to be keeping themselves ahead. Late game paiN, I would say they might have an edge, but not given the farm status. If Ember Spirit had a Battle Fury, if you had a Hand of Might or something like that, he would be in a much better position, but clearly that's not the case. Yeah,
no capability of farming here for King RD, so unfortunately won't be able to transition beyond this very well. But either way, yeah, as you mentioned, they definitely really need those pickoffs, but VB are balling up, and as they should with an advantage like this. They really don't need to for protect one at this point. Tiburon farmed as hell, does have an Aegis in tow as well, and I do worry for them trying to get those lassos off. There's 2 heroes with Eul Scepters. There's also the Tornado from paiN. There's the Disables from Omega, even the Coil from Mercy. So a lot of ways to deal with that lasso, and they are going to have to maybe double force this Bat Rider back. We see Zeus building into a Force Staff, and of course the Bat has one of his own. Vengeful hasn't really found much for VSW, and Omega little bit salty about the pauses, as are we, and yeah, it is taking quite a while, but unfortunately I got to get the issues rectified, and I'm sure that last engagement really pushing paiN over the edge in terms of the lag, but we'll see go here. So
well, we're back in this game, and we'll see what VoidBoys can do. They are going to start by tearing through backdoor protection, because they can.
Yeah, with the Bloodlust, they'll just be able to bring this down. The wave actually rotates in right near the end as well. Tiburon going to find the last hit there, so it's very nice as well. He's got the full heart and picks that up in base here, or will now sell his Aquila and pick that up. 2,100 gold in addition to that, so should be able to build into perhaps a Diffusal here, perhaps a Butterfly as well. But either way, any item of his choice will come fairly soon with that already in tow, and we will see Mercy Please pushing the lanes in and just keeping the pressure up on paiN, and they will be choked out to their side of the map and have to farm there unless they look for a smoke play sometime soon.
Well, VoidBoys still have Aegis Timer for not that much longer, so I don't think the Aegis is going to get value, but even if it doesn't, it's going to mean Naga Siren gets another item slot, and she's going to be able to fill that very easily with, as you said, either Diffusal or Butterfly. Don't really think there are any other big options for her. Really, she could afford to just go pure damage at this point, especially after just picking up the heart. And King RD is, you know, always going into these positions where he should be going to get farm, but it's just putting him in so much trouble, because every time he shows his face there is rotation from VoidBoys. This time it's going to be paiN closing with the Ghost Walk. King RD is going to see something coming, and he will back off, so this time he gets to live, but he's not getting any farm because he has to play this defensively.
Yeah, definitely. So they are choked out. If you look at the Radiant Vision now, they finally did just put a cliff ward here, but they don't see any of the heroes from VoidBoys on the map, and they are rotating through the jungle with the Ghost Walk paiN, and they may rotate around back behind this tower and find a very high priority target in 40R. There are TPs in, however, from King RD. And there will be a swap back onto Beyond. He's going to get a Tornado on 2, though, into the Ice Path on 2 as well. Onto the lasso target. They'll bring down the Invoker very quickly, though, burst him down with that Thunder God's Wrath. Omega Owner going to be the next to fall. Song is popped here, but there's a BKB from 40R, and it looks like VoidBoys will turn tail and run. They should be able to catch up with an Unstable Concoction as well. It is going to be channeled up here by 40R. He's going to throw it out. It's going to get phase shifted, however. And in the meantime, the Vengeful Spirit does drop to Tiburon. But that should be the end. Jump forward, though. Coil on 2. Mercy Please. It's going to hit the Dagon and the Rift onto XX. He's going to get Yules up to cancel the TP, but right clicks are being fed into Tiburon here. 2 seconds left on the Unstable Concoction. He's going to be able to drop it onto Fly. Baga will finish him off with a Lightning Bolt. Tornado going to come forward from the returning paiN. It'll hit on 4AR, but they can't get him, and the Ghost Walk will be able to sound his retreat there. So nice engagement for paiN Gaming there. They take down paiN early on, as well as the Ogre and the Jakiro. Mercy able to survive, as well as Tiburon. So they still were able to kite around the Alchemist quite a bit, but they force a buyback on the Invoker, and overall about a 4k net worth swing and a 9k experience swing in favor of paiN.
It wasn't exactly the description that I had in order for paiN to come back into this game. It wasn't exactly the lasso to get it in, but a swap initiation, any initiation on paiN's terms, would have done the job. And swapping the Invoker in, even though he did do quite a bit before he actually did go down, just getting the fight to start on paiN's terms, really day and night difference there. So Invoker's aura, the Assault Cuirass aura was down. I don't believe anyone was silenced, or if they were, it wasn't really substantial. So
yeah,
they got the right initiation at the right time. And VoidBoys, they just ran out of the Aegis once that fight started, so they really couldn't afford to throw the Naga Siren in there suicidally and see what came out of it. So it was a perfectly timed fight from paiN Gaming. It was a poorly timed fight and poorly executed fight by VoidBoys. They're still in a good enough position so that they will be comfortable enough to just seize control of the entire map, or hold control of the entire map. But that's one of the fights that paiN are capable of. If those fights give the Ember Spirit a Battle Fury, or a Daedalus or something like that, then suddenly this game is out of reach for VoidBoys. Yeah,
and he will build into that Battle Fury, as you mentioned, already picking up the Claymore in his stash here. But we may see another 5-on-5 clash. Illusion's going to run forward. They are going to burn down VSW a little bit. Sleight of Fist is going to be there, but there's a Fire Blast into 4DR. Ice Path is there as well. EMP going to land onto 2. That's going to drop the Vengeful Spirit very low. VSW being chased down by Tiburon. The Radiance should burn him down here. The Venge is the first to fall. BKB popped by 4DR, but he's just going to have to turn and run with it. And the Ensnare should be here from Tiburon. He's actually going to pop the Song of the Siren, and they will be able to aggress onto 4DR. Double Ice Path there. Macropyre as well. Orb going to come through. Waning Rift is there. Force back onto 4DR. He should be okay for the time being, but XX is going to drop despite lassoing up paiN. Multicast onto 4DR. They'll bring him down as well. Huge return engagement going the way of VoidBoys. King RD the only one to escape. 4-0 going the way of VoidBoys there. Very nice engagement from them.
Man, you could have all the health you want in the world, but once Ogre Magi drops 6 Fire Blasts on you, there's not much that you can do about that. You can't move anywhere. You need your team, but your team's already dead. So Ember Spirit is lucky enough to survive, and that means his next item is going to be maybe intact. But VoidBoys, they are pushing down the bottom lane, and they are pissed right now. The Naga Siren is also going to spread out her illusions and go towards middle lane, and well, paiN, they either have to buy back or just lose tower straight up. They're going to catch the Alchemist, who just bought back. He's very tanky, but with so much damage going on to him, will manage to split out of the Orchid. He will survive for a little while longer. Vengeful Spirit, maybe not as lucky. He's going to turn around for Fly, ADR, but the BKB now up is going to chop through that Jakiro very easily. Now he gets a bash. First hit bash into Omega Poner. Force Staff out is not going to save the Ogre Magi. ADR will kill off that target as well. Alchemist is still on top of the net worth chart, and VoidBoys, if they don't have the proper amount of lockdown, they will just be eaten by the big Ogre. So it's a pretty nice turnaround from paiN. They hold on to their tier 3 tower as well, which I thought was pretty much forfeit at that point.
Yeah, a little bit of hubris there, I guess, from the Jakiro, forcing forward right into the fight. He gets swapped even deeper, and he was able to get that Ice Path on 4DR, but the Manta dodge was there, and he was able to BKB and then Turntail. He did just bring down the 2 supports, so not a huge loss for VoidBoys, but certainly making the buyback worth it for 4DR, and he definitely had to. Otherwise, they would have to sacrifice the racks there.
Well, VoidBoys don't exactly get what they want yet. They're still powerful enough. It's just another one of those hiccups in their drafts, and they lose a fight. I guess you could call that a lost fight. Suddenly, you have a sheep stick on Puck, and that's just like so many layers of wrong. King RD also is being stalked on the top lane. Will go all the way down to the river, so he will dodge death for now. But VoidBoys, they just have to be a little bit more careful about how they approach that. It was a buyback that the Alchemist had to use in order to make that defense, but that was a successful defense. The only problem right now I see for paiN is that ADR is dangerously close to being 6-slotted, and that is not where you want your Alchemist to be when you're still just barely struggling to keep these fights. You want him to keep growing, but soon he can't grow anymore.
Yeah, definitely they won't be able to take advantage of that, and in 50 seconds or so, we will see the Roshan respawn. It's not going to get scouted out by this image, but there is some Radiant Vision there, and they will be able to see any rotations into the pit, barring a smoke. paiN gonna rotate in pretty aggressively to the Radiant jungle along with his comrade Fly, and they will posture up around the Roche pit. This is about max spawn time, so good on VoidBoys being disciplined, keeping their timers, and they should be able to scout this if they rotate back into that pit fairly soon. Tiburon sitting on the high ground. Tornado is gonna fly out, not gonna hit anyone, as VSW is in a pretty perilous position in the trees here, but they won't scout him out for the time being. There is, however, a dire ward just around the corner. So if he chooses to leave his little nook here, he may be picked off. Meanwhile, they're going to rotate into the Roche pit with the Forge Spirits, and the rest of the squad will continue to join the fray. Mega Owner going to come in with the Bloodlust. It will melt this Roche very quickly, sub 10 seconds-ish. And the Aegis going to go towards paiN. I think that's the first Roche of the game, so no cheese available. 2 times multicast, however, on XX. Song was popped there, but the Ice Path going to land as well as the EMP. 40R is going to pop his BKB and look to put some punishment into the Naga. But they will just kite him around with this ensnare. And the Ice Wall also dropped their Ice Path on top of that. And zip forward from King RD. He will be able to slide a fist from the high ground, but he doesn't land the Searing Chains. And there's the multicast 5 times overall onto 4DR. King RD gonna have to zip to the low ground, forced down from paiN. He will Manta away the Orchid. Gonna get negative Urn charged and cold snapped up here. He has no remnants available. The Sleight of Fist Searing Chains gets off with the Yule Scepter, Ice Path. He'll probably go down here as well. 2 times multicast. And Mega Owner, when your 9.5k net worth Ogre kills your 24k net worth Alchemist, there's a problem in this game, Valve.
Yeah, Ogre is a balanced hero, guys. I don't know how much damage he actually... Oh wait, no, I do know. It was 2760.
Yeah, so doing just as much as the Invoker. And meanwhile, they're going to zone out Baga and VSW and look to take these Raxes with ease. And they will rotate over towards the mid lane after taking the melee and just leave the Forge Spirits to try and finish off this range Rax bottom.
Well, even if they don't, melee super creeps generally end up killing the range rack soon enough. paiN gonna get lassoed for a little while, even though not really close to death, and still has the Aegis. Nice 2-man Ice Path, once again being set up by the Song. The Venge will try to swap the Batrider out. Looks like she will succeed, but gives her life for it. Zeus also thrown up into the air right now, looking for a pickoff on Fly. May happen, may not, but either way, it is 2 almost complete sets of Raxing, and maybe a tier 3 tower just, to go. paiN is gonna get struck down by Lightning. Thunder God's Wrath gonna take out the Aegis, but there's still 20 seconds until paiN can actually afford to fight. Their Alchemist does not have a buyback, already spent it, and by that time, I'm pretty sure their base is going to be flooded with super creeps, if not megas. Baga is going to get thrown up into the air by so many things. He's going to turn and fight the best he can, but that's GG.
Yeah, meanwhile, Omega Owner picks off the bot back, Batrider in the back with 5 multicasts. And there's the game. So very well played by VoidBoys. Good patience from them despite losing that engagement bottom. They take a nice return one and are very patient until they find some very crucial kills. And then they break base there. So well played by them. Really well drafted, I guess. Especially against that Batrider, which was picked up 2nd pick overall. So after the Batrider, they already had the Jakiro and the Ogre. They pick up the Puck, Naga, and Invoker, Quaz, Wex. All very good at dealing with him. And a couple of Yule Scepters as well. Completely throw a wrench into paiN Gaming's plans there. So BR's losing in game 1 to the North Americans, and we will see hopefully game 2 coming up. Hopefully we get these server issues rectified, but either way it is a best of 3, guys. So thanks for joining us on HeflaTV. Mike, any last thoughts on the game?
Not really, except for hopefully we can conclude the series now, but I don't know, it seems like there are server issues abound, so the series might be delayed, guys. Might have some server shuffles or something like that. I don't see the lobby up right now, so we'll keep you posted as to what's going on as soon as we know.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. That's game 1. GG.